Hmm. I'll use this bookmark. The Grasshopper by Bernard Suits. 15 chapters. Hmm. Grasshopper in this book is the same grasshopper whom a soap made everlasting famous as the model of improvidence. But while Aesop was content with the cast of this remarkable creature as the hero of a cautionary tale, he appears here as an exemplification and articulate exposure of the life most worth living. Oh, okay. He is a working utopian whose time has not yet come. He is destroyed by his uncompromised dedication to the premature ideal, but because he is also a speculative utopian, he is also able to defend that ideal and the death which the predictable consequences will pursue. Hmm. That theory is not intended to be very. Interesting. I wonder. Does this have an audiobook? Audible. Huh. Hmm. BRB. The Grasshopper does not have an audiobook. That's a real fucking shame. But I guess I'm gonna be the audiobook. That works, I suppose. That theory is not intended to be in any direct way contributing to the field of investigation known officially as game theory, although it is possible that some game theorists may find it more than a marginal interest. Hmm. Nor is the book essentially a contribution to sociology or social psychology, although it contains an extended distance. I don't really care about the preface or the acknowledgement. Let's go to chapter 1 right away. Death of the Grasshopper. Aye, if that were no winter to guard against, then the grasshopper a world not get come. Uh, it was clear that the grasshopper would not survive the winter, and his followers had gathered round him for what would be no doubt be one of their last meetings. Most of them were reconciled with his approaching death, but a few were still outraged that such a thing would be allowed to happen. Mm-hmm. Prudence was one of the latter, and she approached the grasshopper with a final plea. Grasshopper, she said, a few of us agreed to give you a share of our food to tide you over till next spring. Hmm. Next summer you can work to pay us back, my dear children, responded the grasshopper. You still do not understand. The fact is that I will not work to pay you back. I will not work at all. I made that perfectly clear. I thought when the ant turned me away from his door, my going to him in the first place was, of course, a mistake. It was a weakness to which I shall not give in again. But continue, Prudence. We don't begrudge you your portion for food. If you like, we will not require you to pay us back. We are not, after all, ants. No, replied the grasshopper. You are not ants. Not any more, but neither are you grasshoppers. Why should you give me the fruits of your labor? Surely that would not be just. When I tell you quite clearly that I will not pay you back. But that kind of justice, exclaimed Prudence, is only the justice of ants. Grasshoppers have nothing to do with such justice. You are right, said the grasshopper. The justice which is fairness in trading is relevant to the lives of true grasshoppers. But there is a different kind of justice which prevents me from accepting your offer. Why are you willing to work so that I may live? It's not because I embody in my life that you aspire to, and you will not want to the model of your aspiration to perish. Your wish is understandable, and to a certain point even commendable, but at the bottom it is inconsistent and self-defeating. It is also, and I hope you will not take offense at my blunt language, hypocritical. Those are hard words, Grasshopper, but well meant. My life, must you understand. I was not intending to be a sideshow, yet there seems to be what you want to make it. You should value me because you want to be like me, not merely so that you can boast to the ants that you are an intimate, and that you are an intimate of the grasshopper, the oddity of nature. We have never done that, Grasshopper. I believe you, but you might as well have done it. So we believe that your proposal is a good one, for it amounts to working because I will not. Howdy, howdy, if anybody's watching. I will not, but the whole burden of my teaching is that you ought to be idle. So now that you propose to use me as a pretext, I love this book so far. You propose to use me as pretext not only for working, but for working harder than ever, since you would not only have yourself be to feed, but me as well. I call this hypocritical because you would like to take credit for doing something which is no more than a ruse for avoiding living up to your ideals. At this point, Skeptis broke out in a laugh. What the grasshopper means, Prudence, he said, is that we do not yet have the courage of his convictions. The point is that we should not only refuse to work for the grasshopper, we should also refuse to work for ourselves. We, like him, should be dying for our principles. Hmm. Okay. That we are not is the respect to which, though no longer ants, we are not grasshoppers either. And of course, given the premise that the life of a grasshopper is only life worth living, that he says certainly follows. Not quite, Sceptus, says the grasshopper. I agree that the principles in question are worth dying for, but I must remind you that they are principles of grasshoppers. I am not here to persuade you, hmm, to die for my principles, but to persuade you that I must. We ought to be quite clear that our respective roles. You are not here to die for me, but I for you. You only need, as skepticists put it, the courage of my convictions to a point, that is, courage sufficient to approve rather than deplore my death. Neither of you is quite prepared to grant that approval, though for different reasons. You, Prudence, because although you believe the principles are worth dying for, you do not believe they need to be died for. And you, Skepticus, because you are not even sure that the principles are worth dying for. Though, replied Skepsis, I believe you are the wisest being alive, which is why I have never left your side during the whole summer of your life. I must admit that I am not convinced that the life of a grasshopper is the best life to live. Perhaps if you could give me a clear vision of the good life, as you see in my convictions would approach yours, my courage as well. You might do this by one of the parables which you were just esteemed. Parables, my dear skepticist, replied the grasper, ought to come at the end, not the beginning of serious inquiry. That is only the point where argument fails. But speaking parables, we may be sure that the ants will fashion one out of my career, will very likely represent my life as a moral tale, the point at which the superior imprudence to an idle way. But it should be the grasshopper who is the hero of the tale. It is he, not the ant, who truth which has been revealed to me. How am I able to persuade them? I do not know. Though persuade them, I do. Precisely at the two when I know is persuaded. And this is the ghastly part. Each ceases to exist. It is not just that the auditor vanishes in the spot, though indeed he does. It is it is that I also know with absolute certainty that he no longer exists anywhere, as though he has never been. Appalled that I am by reaching my teachings, I cannot stop quickly because I'm the next creature. So my news until I preach the truth throughout the universe. Convert never into oblivion. in which chapter 2 disciples, in which skeptics and prudence discover that the grasshopper has left them with a tangle of riddles about play, games, and the good life. Ooh. So far, this looks really good. Hmm. So far, the Grasshopper is quite good. I'm on chapter 3 of 15, 25 pages in. Good shit. Would recommend so far.